All right, testing one, two. All right, so just wanted to do a quick little update recording. Couple things I wanted to talk about. First of all, with my new work schedule, I'm trying to figure out a way I can do a recording. On my SPY trade in and out, I'm usually in and out within the first, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes this week. So I guess I could probably just do a quick update recording after that trade closes and just get something sent out so you can see what I'm doing. The second thing is I've been trading the SPX, and that trade pretty much has to wait for the whole day on the 0 days to expiration for me to max out and get full credit. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. But first of all, let's talk about what I did on SPY Friday. This is the chart from Friday on the 3-minute candle. As you can see right here, the red line is the support area of the first 3-minute candle on SPY. The green line is at the top of this candle right here, which would be your resistance level. Now, let me show you what I actually did on the trade once I can slide this guy over. So you can see at, well, I'll slide it down here. Well, you won't be able to see the time anyway, but let's just say right here at 9:40:28, I purchased 3 call contracts, the 552 calls for 446 per contract. So just to make the math easy for you, that's 446 per contract times 3, so that was $1,300 at risk, or $1,300 to get in on the trade. And you can see I sold them about 20 minutes later for 473. I think that was a 6% gain. So that was the first trade on SPY. Now that time was at 9:40, and at 9:40 we were about right here on this candle, between these two candles right here. Now, two things. Number one, I don't pay attention to a whole bunch of chart patterns or the candlesticks, but there is one particular candlestick that I actually pay attention to, and if the setup is there, I'll trade off of it, and that is the doji. So on this candle right here, as you can see, we're pretty close to being a doji. It's not quite, but close enough for me to call it a doji. And my training says that when you get a doji, if you take out the high of the doji, you go long. If you take out the bottom of the doji, you go short. So on this particular candle here, and right at about 9:39, it completed above the high of this doji. So that would have been a trigger to get in, and that's what I did 1 minute later. Well, in between these two candles right here, because it is a 3-minute candle. So at 9:40 is where I entered the trade on the call side. Now, when you're trading on that particular pattern or that particular entry, your stop would be at the bottom of this doji. So as you can see, we went in and we came in and we came down here almost to the bottom, and I'm going to call this white line, and this white line right here is the middle of the support and resistance range of the first 3-minute candle. So you can see that was the bottom thereabouts of this doji here. So if it would have broke below here, that would have been my signal to stop out. But as you see, it came down, it almost got there. There's a little space, but it actually shot back up. So I got out of my trade at 10:01, which would have been right about here on this candle, was when I actually got out of that trade for a quick 6% profit. Now, being the greedy pig that I sometimes am, I got back in on that trade a few seconds later on some calls with the 552 calls, and I paid 488 for those. I was a little gun shy. I only did 2 contracts there, but as you can see, it took a long time for me to get out of that trade. About 2 hours later, we got out of that guy for about a 5% profit. So that was my trade on SPY, and that was what I wanted you to kind of pay attention to with the doji. Now you can see here, that one close enough to be a doji, but it's not quite, so I wouldn't have taken that trade. But on this one it was. So as you can see here, we didn't quite take out the high of this candle, so that would not have been a trigger to get in, but as you can see, it did eventually work out. Here's another doji here where we took out the high of the doji here on this candle. So let's say we got an entry here on this particular candle right here, and our stop would have been right here. So I'm going to set a price level here for a stop, and let's see if we would have gotten stopped out. Yes, we would have gotten stopped out on this one. So as you can see, it doesn't work accurate all the time, but your setups has got to be there. So on that particular one, it didn't work. On this one, however, it took out the low of that one. So if you would have went short here and your stop would have been there, I'll just draw a line here for the stop. As you can see, that one worked because you would have definitely gotten 5% on this particular guy. So again, it's not 100% accurate. It's just a trade setup that you can actually use if you're trading on a methodical basis versus a trade by trade basis. This could be a strategy that would work for you. All right, now let's talk about what I did on SPX. All right, this is the chart on SPX. This is a 0 days to expiration credit spread. On this chart right here, this is an 8-minute chart with a 30-minute opening bar range, and then this is the 15-minute chart with another 30-minute opening bar range, and then this is the 30-minute chart with an opening bar range on a 30-minute candle. So now let's look at this chart right here. So as you can see here, we had an opening range of resistance here at 555.38, and then the support was 555.25. So that was my opening range. Now for my confirmation to get in the trade, I got in the trade when the 8-minute candle, which is over here on this chart, printed above the 30-minute opening range. So my trigger to get in the trade would have been here, and I would have, it broke it to the upside, so I would have been a bullish in this trade. And when I'm using a credit spread to be bullish, I've got to use puts. So I used a bull put. I was bullish on this trade by using the put options instrument. So that's the reason that it is called a bull put. I know puts by themselves indicate you want the market to go down, but when you're doing a vertical and you're doing a credit spread, when you're using put as your option instrument, it's a credit, but you're wanting it to go up. You're wanting it to go away from your short strike price. So now here's what I did. Let me slide this over. Alright, forgive me for being a little slow on getting this dragged over. So on the put side, you can see here, we sold 2 contracts of the 5510. That was a credit of $262 or per contract. And then we bought the 5505 puts. We paid $212 for those. So the difference between these two is 50 cents. So I got 50 cents credit. So 2 contracts, 50, that's $100. 50 times 2 is 100. 50 cents per contract, or $50 a contract. Now this was taken at 10:20. So basically what I needed SPX to do was to stay above 55.10 by expiration, which was Friday at 4 o'clock, and I would keep all of the credit. And that's what happened. As you can see on the 30-minute chart, as I make this a little smaller, I drew my line here on the bottom for, that's my short strike. That's where I wanted SPX to stay above before expiration. And as you can see, it did. We took no heat on the put side. Now, I did also a bear call side, which was here. And as I pull this over, oop, I can't get my mouse to work. We sold the 55.75 call for 85 cents, and we bought the 55.80 call for 55 cents. The difference between these two is 30 cents. So there was another 30-cent additional bring into the trade, and I needed my short strike, which was 55.75. I needed SPY to close below 55.75, and I kept all of that 30 cents credit. So in essence, I got 80 cents credit on 2 contracts. So 2 contracts times 80, that's 160 bucks if the trade was successful. And as you can see, it was successful as 55.75. Well, I got 54.79, but let's change that to 55.75 so it can be exact. So 50, make that 5.00, apply. All right. So as long as SPX stayed below this number and above this number, I made $160. And as you can see, it did. And I basically didn't take a whole bunch of heat. So this week on trading this philosophy and only doing 2 contracts, this week on SPX, I made $595. On my SPY trades this week, I took a loss on 2 days, but I netted out the week, making $100. So it was a $695 week this week trading. So with that extra $500 that I made on trading SPX, next week I'll trade 3 contracts, and we'll see how high we can run this thing. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I just wanted to show you kind of what we did on Friday. I'll try to make more recordings after I get finished before I go to work. So let me know if you have any thoughts or questions. Thank you, and have a great weekend.